My name is John Ferrara, the CEO of Nimble, and I'm here today to share an excerpt out of a recent Microsoft partner webinar where we taught how partners can transform their CSP practices in order to start transforming their customers' businesses. And today, the expert is with Eamon Moore. Eamon is the CEO and founder of Hikari Data Solutions, one of Microsoft's top global partners of the year. And he's going to talk about how they transformed their business practice by utilizing Office 365 plus Nimble plus Dynamics plus Zero plus their marketing system in order to create a unified relationship platform for the whole team that enables them to more effectively work together and then start providing solutions to their customers on top of Office that helps transform customers from Office 365 users to start using business solutions that help them to adopt Microsoft's key crown jewels, Azure and Dynamics. So with that, Eamon, I'd like you to talk about how you use Nimble to transform your business and how you're starting to use it to transform your customers.
Sure. Well, thanks very much, John. And again, good evening, everyone from a rainy Dublin in Ireland. So a bit of background on myself and a previous company that I had. So we've been a Microsoft partner for many years. And my previous company, Eamon, really started to do a lot more with Microsoft in about 2012. I remember the Microsoft team locally here in Dublin had kind of done a call out for partners who were willing to change their business model around the as a service piece, who were willing to embrace the likes of Office 365 and Azure. And I suppose in what Eamon was before that point, we were a consultancy and outsourcing business. We didn't really have a legacy hardware and infrastructure business. So while I suppose many of our competitors in the Irish market would have struggled to adapt to this new world, we put our hands up and said, yeah, we'll give this a shot. And we ended up growing that business really well. We started with Office 365. We wanted to do more than just email in the cloud. So we started to embrace other services within Office 365 and embrace the certain aspects of that could deliver and the value that we could bring to our customers. We then saw a pathway up to the likes of Microsoft Azure, and we grew that business really, really well. And what we did then in about 2015, 2016, we started to think about our own strategy, and we started to think about, if a lot of partners are going to come on board this Microsoft journey, which many of them did, and we were all moving people up to the cloud. What's the value that we could bring to customers to allow us, as John said in an earlier slide, to allow us to stand out from the crowd? And we thought, well, maybe if a lot of people are putting their data up in the cloud, maybe we should be with the people that bring value to them with data, and when we decided to look into areas like business intelligence and CRM, and we saw a real growth area there as well. And what happened then for us was in 2016, our aim of winning a local Irish Partner of the Year award at Microsoft was only to be outdone when we actually won Global Partner of the Year for SMB Cloud Solutions, which was a huge honor for us to receive at that time, and really put us on the map globally with Microsoft and in the partner community. And we started to build out that strategy. So we opened up a Dynamics practice, we opened up a Power BI practice in a division called Business Solutions. And as I see many there who are using and selling Dynamics, maybe you can relate to the experience that we have, but it's a tough game to be in. It's a tough game to transform customers, particularly that mightn't be process driven and process aware to engage in a project like Dynamics. So while we learned a lot of lessons, and it was a good 3 years in that business, we got to a crossroads in our journey last year, whereby we two sides to our business. We had a managed services business, and then we had a business solutions business, and we call it the data side. And we saw real growth areas in both, but we were leaning towards the solution side of our business, and we took the leap. We ended up selling the whole business Eamon last year in a managed services practice, and we spun out our solutions business into Hikari, and we launched there in the middle of last year. But when I look at what we do, And it's always about practicing what you preach, I suppose. And we struggled back in the days in email. As you see this slide here, we were very good users of Office 365, but we'd various other tools that we had, like ConnectWise for our managed service business, and we had Zero for accounting, we Dynamics for the sales and marketing aspect, along with Mailchimp. And we do and promote and do a lot of business through social media and LinkedIn and Twitter. But it was very much a siloed approach. The idea of there wasn't a huge amount of integration. We were so busy ourselves in our own business, we really didn't have time to build out and to build integration between these different platforms. And then it became a bit cumbersome, setting up leads and opportunities and not having them synced across multiple systems was a real challenge for us. So I suppose then we took that opportunity, and working closely with the Microsoft team as part of the Partner Advisory Council, it became apparent in the feedback that we were giving, and like yourselves there in the chat box and the surveys that were done, we service the SMB market here in Ireland, and somewhat outside of Ireland these days as well. And we struggled in the Dynamics market. There's no denying the Dynamics is a great tool. The back end technology that is there and available is really, really powerful. But we just struggled to get a fit with the SMB community into Dynamics. Maybe one, around the price point, two, around the length of project that it was going to be, and three, around the resources that were needed internally in an organization and a customer to be able to go on that journey. And we tend to see that a lot of those projects didn't move forward. A common thing that we'd see in organizations when we'd ask people and sit them around the table and say, tell me about your processes, and then we would help integrate that and build dynamics around that. We often found that many people around the table from the one organization would say different things about the process. So the sales process, you went around a boardroom table, you could get 10 different answers from people because it wasn't written down, it wasn't defined, they hadn't thought about it. Some people were working off an old strategy and old processes, and for that reason we struggled even at times get some Dynamics projects up and running.
Eamon, so, can I interject here just real quick?
Yeah.
So this is something that I've seen often in the industry, is that customers need a simple place to start where they can learn about what they need. And by adding Nimble to Office and getting customers started, you can then prepare them to grow into a Dynamics instance. And so that's why we really think that if you're a Dynamics reseller, Nimble is a great tool to fit with Dynamics, either as a tool to sell with Dynamics as a sales intelligence, sales enablement, engagement tool for the sales reps, or to sell to customers with Office to get them started. And we even see Microsoft resellers selling Nimble into instances of customers that have G Suite and Salesforce to get them started with Nimble till they get a foot in the door with a customer, and then they grow them into Office and Dynamics from there. Just some ideas for some of the Dynamics resellers in the audience.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think and we found that when we built out this strategy then of concentrating on the data world in the SMB market, particularly in Ireland, we said let's go and do it ourselves. So like we met with John and the team, and we decided, first we used and we trialed Nimble ourselves. We really loved it. We really loved some of the new technologies and the integration pieces that were there, and it was a huge success for us internally, because the way it was in the old world with those siloed approach, it was difficult to almost track deals, to input deals. Like, many of you might, if you're involved in sales like me, you go into a meeting, you get a lead or an opportunity, you'd be really excited about it, but you could spend 20 minutes copy and pasting from the customer's website or from their LinkedIn profile on all the different entries that you'd need to get into a CRM system. And what we particularly liked about Nimble, which we'll show you another slide now, is that integration, that social integration with the likes of LinkedIn or the social feeds like Twitter, etc. That you can drag all that information and be adding a lead or a prospect or an opportunity to that record within seconds. And that has saved me a huge amount of time in how I do business and how I promote business in Hikari now. So what I like about the Nimble piece for us was there's direct integration and plugins to the likes of Zero, obviously to LinkedIn, Office 365, Dynamics, Mailchimp. It's far more seamless than we had before. And starting people off easy, and I think that'll be my best advice for any of you who are looking at something like Nimble for the SMB market as well. To get people bought in, to get people to use the likes of the social selling piece, start them easy and almost baby steps. Change is going to be a big thing in an organization. If you look at many of the customers we deal with, as John said, they're using CRM, or sorry, they're using Excel or Outlook, or some are using pen and paper as their CRM system. So to get them on board with a simple, smart CRM solution like Nimble, that instigates change, and then with change then becomes progression, and very much so. And I think John and the team, and as much as Microsoft fully respect that many SMB customers will stay in Nimble, and some will move on that journey up to Dynamics when they see the power of a CRM tool, and they go into something that perhaps the requirements grow, and they need to go into more of a solution, a sophisticated solution like Dynamics to build out those processes outside of sales. It could be project service, field service, and the likes of that. So for us, it's been quite successful. To give you an idea, I think Outlook is great, and we all use it, but we all spend, in my view, too much time in Outlook, and this is where we start our day as our team. So in Hikari, so we have our events, which is totally synced up with our Office 365. I remember back in the days of the previous company, all but one of our customers across a number of 100 customers were on Office 365. We had no on-prem Exchange servers left, with the journey that we brought our customers on. So this integration piece between Nimble and Office 365 is a really strong story for us now. You can see there on the today screen, I can see deals from me and my team, see what's going on in a day or a week, and how we can forecast out and build that into our cash flow projections and our sales projections. And then tasks, again, this is where I make notes about things that I have to do, either internal tasks to do with the organization, or tasks against an associated opportunity, deal, or proposal. Again, flicking between different systems that we had in the past. Was it in ConnectWise? Was it in Outlook? Was it in an Excel file somewhere that we share to people? We try to bring and integrate that so we have almost one source of the truth. Now, it's obviously not to say that you won't go into other systems, but the integration that Nimble gives us is really strong, and that the flow of information between our various systems, it makes our lives so much easier. And the mobile app then as well, which is a very good representation of this, really helps me, because now in the new business, I'm very much in business development and sales mode. So I get that representation in the app, and little cool things like when I leave a meeting. So if I had a meeting with John, it would pop up and ask me then afterwards what was memorable about that meeting. And immediately I'm typing in some notes and tasks that I need to do that is here for my whole team to see. And I think, for me, and for any of you who are seeing Nimble for the first time, or for any of you who are choosing to sell Nimble to your customers, this is where it all starts for me. This is the hook that brings people in. It brought me in, it brought my team in, but it brings our customers in as well. The fact that you can go onto a LinkedIn profile, that the Nimble toolbar and the smart contacts opens up straight away, and you can drag all that information in and be adding a lead or proposal opportunity to that contact straight away is absolutely fantastic in our view. And you can see all the smart summary information and all useful information, like for many of you who are out there dealing with customers, one of the first things we do before we go into a meeting is perhaps look at their LinkedIn profile, get some information about them, see what contacts we have in common, see what they're doing on social media, so we're up to date about our customers and showing them that we care about them, and we look at what they're doing. Nimble gives us all that on one screen. Really, really powerful, and it's just integrating all the work we did before is a really good option for us. And of course, we all, as I say, we do live in email. But a great example here of the Nimble toolbar, which we use in Office 365, is that it takes the information again from that email. So if it's a current customer, you're immediately seeing all the information and all that smart summary that you have about that customer within Nimble. And what I really like about this piece is that if you've got a generic email address for your organization, where it might be sales or an incoming prospect from your website, if this contact isn't known to you, and they email into your system, and it might be, I'd say, a distribution list that you share with some of your colleagues in your office, you can immediately open up the Nimble toolbar and the smart contacts, and it grabs all the information from that email in, from their signature, etc. And at that opportunity, you're adding in a lead again. And for me, I remember that was always a worry of mine. If it's a generic email address and maybe not one person is responsible for it, could we be missing out on leads that come in, with this application now with Nimble, that I have much more confidence that this doesn't happen, because it's so easy to add in that person into Nimble with the click of a button. Again, you can see here with calendar integration. So again, prepping for meetings, it's seeing that information, preparing me and my team as you go in to see customers, and readily bringing up the Nimble contact again is a very valuable resource. Office contacts, as you see there again. And what I really like about this piece is that over the years we would have amassed a large number of contacts across both companies. And now to have that integration is really great. And you'll know, if you've seen Nimble, that there's some AI built into it as well. So it begins to recognize the type of deals that you have. You can put in a setting in Nimble as well to identify in your contacts certain people that you're trying to target. So it could be a CFO or a COO, and then Nimble will start present suggested contacts for you, people that you should reach out to that perhaps were buried in your contacts over time and you almost forgot about. And it's bringing these to the forefront in order to help you to sell better in conjunction with the type of deals that you're doing at the moment. So we use it very much so in Outlook, and also the mobile app is a really cool thing to have. One of the things I really like about it is we still get a lot of business cards, I suppose, as many as you do in different interactions that you have with customers. But now what I do is I scan that business card using the Nimble app, and immediately puts that information into the Nimble contact database for me. And again, like that, I'm adding a lead, a proposal, or something that can help me generate new business. Very, very productive for us in our organization. And
I just wanted to point out with you that if you add Nimble into Office 365 or Outlook Mobile or Outlook Desktop, it's automatically added in all those other places, so that it then lives with you wherever you're working, and then including, of course, Teams and Skype. And so that's one of the things I really love about Nimble, is that it's just not integrated in your inbox. It's integrated into all the places that you're working. And in fact, one of the interesting things is that Nimble brings Office 365 contacts into Dynamics, unifying on the back end Office and Dynamics, and then allowing you to then prospect anywhere, and anything you prospect then goes back into Office and or Dynamics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's fantastic integration flows there to allow you to do that. And I think it's a good point, John. You talk about when I look at the way we sell as an organization now, and this is why Nimble really hit home with us, is because this concept of social selling. If I look how I interact with third parties now, whether it be customers, suppliers, influencers, it could be through LinkedIn, it could be through LinkedIn messaging, various posts that we do, it could be on Instagram, it could be on Twitter. On via tags or direct messages. Myself and John would often talk, if we're not doing it on mobiles, we do it across Twitter messages, and leave all that outside of the core application that you have around email and various other tools. And for us, Nimble brings all that together in one place, and that's really useful for organizations like ours. And that's what we then try and promote to customers. So many of us have customers that won't be that way inclined in terms of social selling and the new way of selling. And it's our job, I suppose, from a consultant point of view, is to teach them about this is the new way of doing things, and very much so if they're trying to attract new customers, but also maybe more importantly, new staff members as well, that they're seen to be embracing this new way of selling and technology. Because people will get tired if they just go into an organization that is old way of doing things. And if you show them that you're forward thinking with tools like this, we've seen it work very well. There's an example there of Xero, which is our accounting platform, and how it fully integrates and with Nimble and transfers information. Again, many of you might use ConnectWise if you're in the managed service business. So again, an example of Nimble tracking the information and bringing the data in from ConnectWise. MailChimp was another tool that we use, and full integration there. And social prospecting. So social, if many of you are using the likes of LinkedIn, if you're using Sales Navigator as well, again, really, really good ease of transfer of information across. The minute you get a lead, it's not buried, and it's really strong in the likes of LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, but it could get buried in the salesperson's account. Like with Nimble, it brings it all across for all to see and full visibility. So I think it's the openness for me that brings all that data in. And again, there's the mobile app that I mentioned as well for
Eamon, could you go back over to ConnectWise for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. and actually go to zero. Stop at zero. So here's the deal. There's a gold mine in your accounting program. It's easier to sell to somebody you've already sold to than it is to sell to somebody new, and you should be prospecting the people you sold to for net new business and referrals. Yet most people's contacts are locked in their accounting program, and they're locked in their support program like ConnectWise. They're locked in their marketing program. They're locked in their contact program. Nimble will unify all those contacts from the disparate places, enrich the people and company data, and then work back in those places, but more importantly, allow you to outreach to those people for new conversations. And so that's what I really love about the fact that Nimble can unify all your disparate contacts. And with that, let's go ahead and pass it over to Michaela. Eamon, thank you so much for telling us about how Nimble has transformed your business. And I look forward to learning more about how you're using it to transform your customers, because once you start selling solutions on top of Office 365, you start transforming businesses. And when you transform businesses, they not only love you, but they tell their friends about you.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
You bet.